if you train yourself to be saying good words and you stay away from evil, because these are the teachings of Islam, anytime you stay away from the bad words, you will be rewarded. Do you get the idea? Whenever you don't do evil, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for that. If it is something that you used to do but now you stop doing because of the Sharia, whenever you stop doing it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for that. Get it? But it's good whenever you do an act, try have intention in that. Okay, train yourself also to remember that yes, this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves, so that your reward will be confirmed, inshallah. But whenever you stay away from evil, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for that. So this question says, what must a woman do when her husband asks one thing and the parent asks another? Who does she prioritize? Ayyuhal azwaj. Who has more power? Is it the husband or the parent? Husband. Okay. Husband is more powerful in this case. She is not supposed to disobey the husband just because the parent said something. She has to obey him. Get it? His right over her is more than the right of the parents. So in this case, she has to listen. She apologizes in a nice way. Get it? She has to listen to them. Except if the parent are asking her to do good and the husband is inviting her to evil. In this case, even without the command of the parent, she has to stay away from that which the husband is talking about. But in the normal circumstances, when the husband wants something and the parent wants something else, she goes to the husband. The husband says yes. They said no. She should say yes. She go with the husband. She has to. The parent says come out. And the husband says no, you shouldn't. Husband take the preference. She should apologize to them. And she's not disobeying them. They are actually going beyond the limit. Get it? Into somebody else's authority, which is not theirs. But in all of these, she shouldn't react in a negative way. Try explain to them, cry. Very simple for sisters to cry. Let's just cry in front of them. Let them see that yes, you are not willing to fight. Okay, this question is like a book. So I guess this question until the end of this page is talking about parents who are taking an opinion and the child is having another opinion. That's very good family, right? Student of knowledge. So the parent and the children also, they're all student of knowledge. The parents should be very lenient. Although I know in some societies the parents are very rough. Their opinion is like قال الله قال رسوله. And this is very wrong. This is very wrong. If you have a child who is having this kind of approach, he studies, a parent should listen to him. Do you get the idea? And a father cannot change the opinion of a child. In those cases which are wajibat, you know that you believe it is wajib and the parent believe it is mustahab. You don't change because of your father. It remains wajib and you don't do it because of him. It is not right. If you do it, you will be sinning because that's against your belief. You get it? But when it comes to mustahabat, this one is mustahab, the other one also is mustahab. If your parent have a choice and they ask you to choose this one, you go with the parent. You can't disobey them. Get it? The same goes to the husband. The wife wants to fast and the husband says no. Can she still fast? No, she can't do that. She has to take his permission first. But what I want the sisters and the brothers to understand here is that we don't have one type of ibadah. We have a lot of types of ibadah. One of the most important ibadat, you get it, to be practiced at home between the two spouses is to make each other happy. Only Allah knows how much she gets. I'm telling you, that person, if she does what restricts him in the house, I don't mean he doesn't go out, but what restricts him from committing the sin and he get relief, she might be rewarded far greater than any other ibadah that is mustahab she's going to do in the future. So the husband says no. You get it? And she doesn't fast because of the command of the husband. she obeys the command, that obedience is wajib, right? She will be rewarded the reward of wajib, which is greater than the reward of the sunnah. We have to be very careful in understanding these things. These are matters of cooperation. We have to, because sometimes some sisters might not understand this. Get it? So if the husband wants it, it's better for her to go for it, as long as it is not an obligation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Making him happy can earn you a lot of rewards, because maintaining the family ties is essential Islamically. That's what husband and wife should understand. So get it? So in wajibat, a child should take his opinion. In haram also, a child should take his opinion. Get it? The child says it's haram because he has nusus, and the father says it's halal. The father cannot force the child to do what the child believes to be haram. But when it comes to mustahabbat, when the father make a choice, in this case, if they want you to take their choice, also you should take their choice. You should avoid yours.
It was the opposite. The father had the stricter opinion, and the son had the more easier opinion.
Like what? In Islam, we don't have this strict opinion and more easy opinion.
I don't know. I mean, like, you're only saying that the father has the mustahab and the son has the wajib. If the father...
These are matters of understanding. Don't describe them as strict and non-strict opinion. The matter of the truth. Either this one is correct or that one is correct.
Yeah, I mean...
Do you get it? Can I finish your hair? Okay. Either this one is correct or that one is correct. If the child has evidence to support his case, he should maintain and hold upon his opinion. Do you get the idea? Although the father has a different approach. But if the father has stronger than the child should be open and the father should be open. Both of them are supposed to be open, to listen to the other one. Because this religion is not mine, is not his, is not the father's, is not the son's. So if the son talk, the father should understand that this is the religion of Allah. I should listen. You get it? He shouldn't say, no, I am the father. He should listen to me. No, this is the religion of Allah. So the father should listen. So when the son brings evidence that are stronger than the father should be proud of this actually. Alhamdulillah, I have a child like that. Should be happy with that. She should share with others. My son is a mufti now. So she is talking about when there is a disagreement in matters of istihbab. The father says this and the daughter or the son says that. Okay, and we want to keep our thing. Can we deceive them? Okay, I don't call it deception. You get it? I don't call it deception, I call it tawriya. You don't deceive. A Muslim doesn't deceive. But we do tawriya. You get it? You can do tawriya. Tawriya is, I don't know how to call it, white lie. Okay, anyway, you use a word that has two meanings. One of them is too far, but you intended the farthest one. And the one that you're dealing with will understand the closest one, but you don't intend that. If you are oppressed, you can resort to this. But if you're not oppressed, you cannot do that because it is a lie Islamically. You get it? So a child should try his best. Get it? The example that she mentioned, these are not the matters of istihbab, these are matters of wajib or istihbab. If a sister takes the opinion that says it is wajib, that is no obedience to the parent, she just have to try and convince them. Get it? Slowly, gradually, keep trying to convince them. Get it? But what I meant is, when there is mustahab, he agrees it's mustahab, this one also agrees it's mustahab, but one says let's do it and the other one says no, not now. You go with the parent choice. Get it? You go with the parent choice. Some time ago, what is that? Okay, she said, some time ago we learned that a student should ask about everything he wants to know. How does a person know he's a student of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Who is a student of knowledge? Somebody who studies, right? Okay, but honestly speaking, when we say study, it doesn't mean somebody who comes to some classes and skips some classes. Student of knowledge nowadays are very few. Honestly speaking, there are very few. Real student of knowledge, they don't skip class. I'm telling you, one of them will prefer to be in a state of unconsciousness than skipping one class. In those days, people would skip food for days, but they would never tolerate missing a class. And some of them, not only that, even in the days the Sheikh doesn't come to school, they go to the place and sit down. One of them was asked, "Why do you always come?" The Sheikh is not coming. He said, "I don't want my soul to think that there is a time for it to rest." These are the students of knowledge. Nowadays, do we have them? We have other priorities, In those days, they sleep in the places of the scholars. They sleep in front of their rooms and their houses. The scholar will wake up and see a group of people waiting for him. From the time of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, this has been the practice. And you have classes, nowadays you have classes in the daylight. How many people attend? A few. The best example is our classes. How many classes you have in this masjid? A lot, right? And how many people you see in attendance? Okay, a lot, alhamdulillah. Say alhamdulillah, But people are not like that. The real students are the people who are very serious in their learning, and they don't skip classes. They come all the time, and they go home and sit down and revise that which they learned from the scholars until they memorize it. These are the real student of knowledge. Get it? So everyone should go and check himself. If you're not among these people, then alhamdulillah, the time is not too late. You can fix it. We need people to be in this field. We need, especially the sisters. I'm very sorry, especially the sisters. We really need dedicated people to be in the field of the knowledge, to carry on the message to areas and places where brothers cannot go. Get it? And this knowledge shouldn't be restricted to the brothers. In some places, they even say this is the knowledge of Rijal. There is no knowledge which is restricted for the brothers alone. But we make it as if it is like that, right? So I really urge each and every one of us to engage in learning, especially the sisters. Get it? So these are the real student of knowledge, and they have to follow also learning strategy. Quran first. Okay? Quran first. Memorize Quran. Get it? How many people memorize Quran here? Okay, alhamdulillah, Sheikh. So, married, memorize the Quran. Inshallah, so many virtues. Yeah, you don't want to show off. Uthman? Some. So I know you will never promise, but let's say, inshallah, do you think, are you a student of knowledge? Okay. Wait. Are you a student of knowledge? I'm just asking, looking for an answer. Just say yes. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, that's that's Toria, So I know you will never promise, but let's say, inshallah, by next year, if we live, I'm going to ask this question. Get it? Who memorized Quran? Get it? Before I close my mouth, I should see that all the hands are like that. Get it? Khalas, I take your word. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Next question. Oh, I already answered that.
Difference between someone who attends halaqah and lecture and student knowledge.
This going to, I really appreciate what we're doing, But this halaqat that we have, Riyadh al-Salihin, this and other halaqat, also some other lecturers or scholars or students of knowledge are having, they're not going to make you a scholar unless if you put an effort. It's very shameful. Sorry, let me knock on your head for a while. Sometimes I will be asking, where do we start? Nobody remembers. Nobody remembers. Sometimes I have to go and look for some sign, okay, my signature reached this place, so most likely I'm here, And sometimes in some places when I start teaching, and then some student says, no, we remember, I think we talk about this, right? And he's also not sure. But this is not how to learn. I'm telling you, wallahi is not how to learn. A student of knowledge is not like that. A student of knowledge is the one who comes to the class, he knows exactly where we stop, and he knows exactly what. And whatever is mentioned by the Sheikh, when the Sheikh mentioned, he will recall that we have talked about this last time. That's the reason why the knowledge in the halaqat is being repeated a lot for the real student of knowledge. And that helps him to remember the knowledge, or he will never forget. But in most of the instances, the knowledge given to us is always new. Always new. It has been given many times, but the moment it was given to you again, it will be new. Because we don't revise at home. You get the idea? We are, mashallah, very dedicated and good. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase your interest in coming to the classrooms. We are very dedicated. But in terms of keeping that which we have learned in the classroom, la hawla la quwwata illa billah. Only a few. And you know, that's why the time you spend, and there are some of us here, and they have been with people and learning for how long? For ages. And if you are to interview them, you will see them going around in the same place. You met them at the first time. It's like they don't get anything. Why? Because knowledge is going here, but sometimes it doesn't even go inside. It goes like this. The point is to be in the classroom. That's the most important thing. But as a student of knowledge, the point is not to be in the classroom. The point is to make sure that you take almost everything the Sheikh is mentioning. You know, this Sa'id ibn Jubair, you know, when he goes to Abdullah ibn Abbas, they said he goes with his book, that he takes notes. You know, how many people you see in the classes taking note? A few. Most of us believe we know. And you know, it's just so funny sometimes in the classroom when you teach, you will see some people, just because they're coming from sometimes Arab countries, okay, this religion is ours, and we speak Arabic. They don't pay attention, they touch they play with their phones, and they do everything. When the exams comes, they're the worst in terms of the marks. Why? Because they don't pay attention, they think the religion is theirs. No, it doesn't go like that. Sa'id ibn Jubair brings the pen, and he writes. If the book is finished, he writes everything that comes from him. If the book is finished, and now he doesn't have any paper anymore, he writes on his hand, right here, right. People are like, what's wrong with you? He doesn't care. Write on the other one, he writes on his leg, he writes on his shoes. You get it? This is how he filled everything. You know, friends used to be laughing at him. But you know, subhanallah, he reached a situation whereby they mentioned that if you're talking about knowledge, when it comes to Sa'id ibn Jubair, you will say that this person specializes in almost everything. Those people who laugh at him, they regret. They wish they were among those people who are doing the same thing. Do we have students of knowledge doing that? Only a few. To get idea. So patience is needed. Strategy in learning also is needed. You write everything that comes, even if you know, you pay attention. Ata bin Isar or Ata bin Abi Rabah said, sometimes I will be sitting next to somebody who is speaking about the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, but he will be very attentive, focusing on that person. He said, this person who is speaking this hadith, talking about this hadith, he said, I memorized this hadith before his father is born sometimes, some of them. But whenever I hear him talking about that, I will be very attentive, as if this is the first time I am hearing about the hadith. Are we like that? No. Student of knowledge nowadays, they will tell you this is so many repetition. We already know that. They're very selective, very picky in terms of the knowledge they should learn. Wallah, we have never come across this. Our scholars, I mean, we are not that far, but our scholars, I don't come across a person that we are the one who suggests to him, or we are the one who propose to him how to teach. Never. Sometimes you will be sitting next to them, they will be mentioning things that you already know. And tomorrow we will try also to go and be the first person. Nobody complains. This is how you learn. Get it? This is how you learn. So I'm just trying to give you this random thing. Maybe inshallah you wake up, you get an idea. I really advise you to write down everything you take from your scholars, take them down, and when you go home, make sure you memorize before you sleep. Knowledge is that which is in the heart, not that which you kept on the papers. That's why some of you who attended some of my classes, when I address your book, I call them what? Dictionaries. Your book is additional dictionary. Just like the kamus you have. When I ask a question, check. And then see the answer, yeah, this is what you want. When this dictionary is missing, no answer to be given, right? So are we students of knowledge? Inshallah. So please, I'm appealing to you, be serious in your learning. Wallahi, be serious. Be serious. In the way you are interested in attending the classes, try keep that which we learn in the class. Be very serious. You will remember this word, inshallah, when you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this life also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will honor you, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Could you give us some tip? Is it like that?
Tips.
To increase khushu in the prayer. How can we increase khushu in the prayer? First of all, you prepare for that. Get it making wudu. From the time you are making wudu, try relieve yourself from the dunya. They mentioned that one of the attitudes of the Prophet ﷺ, when the prayer time arrives, it's like he doesn't know anyone. Ali Zain al-Abidin also was like that. When the prayer comes, it's like he doesn't know. So this is the preparation. They asked Zain al-Abidin, why when the prayer comes you will become very serious? He says, you don't know whom am I going to, you forgot that I'm going to meet the Most High. SubhanAllah. That is his feeling, you know. He says, you don't know that I'm going to be meeting the Most High, and you are asking me to maintain my situation without any preparation. So from the time you are making wudu, you should be prepared. You remember that you're going to be meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is the most exceptional meeting and the greatest meeting that is happening in your life. Before you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the real meeting, this is when you pray. Do you get the idea? So you should prepare for that. And stay away from dunya. Don't go to pray with akramakumullah, the pushing urine, trying to stop it, or the gas, or one of them, you know. The Prophet ﷺ said you shouldn't do that. Don't go and pray when the food is ready. You'll be remembering what? Food. The Prophet ﷺ said you should eat your need first and then go and pray. And the same also, the same to be said to somebody who goes to the masjid with things that are distractive. If you have a child that usually distracts, keep him at home. Teach him first how to relax in the prayer, then bring him to the masjid so that he will not annoy the others. And remove all of the images and fancy things that can cause you a distraction. Nowadays, there is nothing to be done because in all of our masajid on earth, we have these fancy things, carpet and all of these things. So sometimes when you pray, you look at them in the ruku. How many lines are there? How fancy? You know, the Prophet ﷺ prayed one prayer and the clothes he was wearing has line. These are just lines. Huh? Right after the prayer, he went home and took it off and he brought it back to somebody and he said, please take it to so and so and ask him to give me another one which is plain because these lines distracted me in my prayer. SubhanAllah. Now we're not talking about lines, right? You have writings also on advertisement, you brought them to the masjid. You know that bringing advertisement to the masjid also is wrong, you know. The cloth that carries an advertisement of a company is wrong for you to bring it to the masjid. That's wrong. That's why the scholar said if you have calendars which are telling you the prayer time, but they have the sign or the advertisement of the bank, you have to tape it, you have to close it. Because all of these dunya activities are not supposed to be practiced in the masajid. But sometimes you pray in front of somebody and you have a lot of writings on, you know, the person next to you, the people will tell you that we read. What happened to our prayer? Sometimes I read what is. Okay, anyway, it's halal to do that, but this is makruh. You get it? Masjid should be plain, clean and plain. No too much design. Get it? This is how masajid are supposed to be. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us khushu. It's a matter of training. Don't you ever expect to have it at once. Keep on training yourself. Inshallah, you will reach that position. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to reach that position. This is the last question. Ibrahim, wait. If the husband stops the wife from... Can I read this? Yes. Okay. If the husband stops the wife from visiting her parent, what should she do? That's haram for him to do that. It is haram for the husband to stop the wife from visiting the parent. She should remind him about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he has no right to do that. Do you get the idea? He shouldn't do that. He is sinning actually. unless if he knows that going to the parent can cause problem in his house. In this case, to preserve his right, he has a right to tell her no, unless if they go together. You get it? But just because he doesn't like the parent, he has no right to stop her. He's committing sin. This is not his right. A husband cannot tell the wife, you cannot call your family members. That's haram. Get it? Unless if that conversation is always causing problem in their marriage. In this case, he has a right to stop her from doing that, because his right over her is more than their right. You get the idea? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to the truth. Oh, this is a book of Sheikh Munajid. I have read some. It's good. I've read some part of it. It talks about different ways to maintain khushu. These are all matters of ijtihad, the way he sees them. Get it? But the most important thing is to be prepared for that. For the brothers, it's good to go to the masjid before the iqamah, to pray the sunnah. That will help you to be calm, and to sit down and make dhikr. That will help you also to get the tranquility and the peace of mind, so that when the prayer comes, the wajib comes, you are ready for that. Get it? It's good to be in the masjid after the adhan or before the adhan. I mean, few minutes before the adhan. Khalas. So the last two questions.
Sheikh, you mentioned that you can't have.
We mentioned.
Yeah. That shares having any advertisements or whatever. So what about, for example, a share that maybe has a hadith on the back? So would that?
So also a person should be very careful, because sometimes we sleep, we lie down, kids also peed on it. Get it? You go to the toilet and the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on that. You have to be very careful. That's why I advise to have general reminders. Get it? General reminders that you don't have the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in it, out of the fear of you disrespecting it, out of ignorance. Yes, Ibrahim.
I'm not then, for example, during prayer, so it's on your back, so it might be distracting to the person.
It's going to be, I'm telling you, it's going to be. That's why the best is, if you are not at work, if you're at home, don't come to the masjid with those kind of clothes. Because believe it or not, the one who is praying behind you, unless if he's really khasha, get it? When he sees that, sometimes shaitan will take his eyes to read. So now he will be focusing on practicing that hadith in the prayer instead of having the khushu'.